What's the purpose of black holes? Oh, all right, we'll kick off with that question. Black holes are basically created when two different galaxies come in contact with each other. The rims, yeah? So imagine two circles, and then the two circles come in contact with each other. And what can happen is that you can be transported to a completely different part of the galaxy. Yeah, so previously people were saying like black holes, you go in, it sucks everything in and nothing comes out. But that has been broken down by the master teacher that that's not actually the case, because, you know, as it spirals downwards, if you think of a whirlwind, or like when you pull the plug from the sink when you're in your kitchen and there's water and you pull out the plug, you see how the water spins and goes down? Like that spinning goes in one direction, but eventually it will expand and then contract. Yeah, actually this lectern, this as you can see, what looks like an hourglass is a depiction of that. So if you go in, it gets really, really thin, but then it expands on the other side. So yeah, you can basically be thrown into a completely different part of the galaxy, or another galaxy that you're coming in contact with. All right. Next question by Lamont again. Will consciousness ever stop expanding? No, because when you say consciousness, consciousness is a part of all, or the all expanding. The thing is, when we as, well, people that are thinking based on being in a three-dimensional world and the concept that you have of time, right? We try to have beginning and ends, because that's kind of what you've been taught. Whereas there is no beginning and there is no end. And that might be something that is very difficult for people to grasp or comprehend. Why do we say there's no beginning or no end? Because it's about constant transformation. Everything is recycled. So even your physical body, once it ceases to contain the real you, the soul, or, you know, the other parts of you, it goes back to the ground, but eventually it rots and then turns to dust. And that dust, it's in the earth, it can be blown away by the air, or it then helps to grow new plants, and life just recycles and continues. Okay, we got a live caller? Imagine I didn't even give the number out or say we can take live calls yet, but I guess you guys are used to this. Greetings, Rahubat live caller. What's your name, where you calling from, and what's your question for today, please? Rahubat caller, you there?
Yes.
Greetings, how are you doing?
My name is Karis Muir from Jamaica.
Greetings, go ahead.
Okay, so I want to know if, like, when people from different races, like you have people that are from the Denisovans and those that are from the Neanderthals. Mm-hmm. When different races mix and have children,
Yeah.
Is it true that a lot of times those children will be taller when they're crossbreed? I've heard a theory like that.
Is that the question?
Yes.
Well, a theory is not fact. And it's really based on the two people coming together. But remember, even though we're saying the two people coming together, each one of those people is 4 generations backwards. So you have to take into consideration all the ancestors before them. So you might have 2 people that have a short height, okay, and their child can come out very tall because it's based on the DNA and the genetics, and you have throwbacks that come out in the generations or the 4th generation predominantly. So let's say your great granddad or your granddad was very tall, but then you're short, and then you marry somebody that is short, and they're, or what is considered short, because the whole thing of tall and short is subjective, right? And I'll explain what I mean by that in a minute, but I'll do it now. Subjective meaning that if you are the tallest person in the community you're in, you're going to be considered tall amongst people that may be very, very short. But then you can go to another community and the very, very short person is the tallest person in that community. So how do you, or even a tall person, you can see someone that's like, I don't know, 6 foot, and then you think they're very tall, but then you see someone else that giants over, or, you know, is very tall, taller than the one that was 6 foot. But anyway, going back 4 generations in your ancestry, there may be tall people or short people. So if, let's say, the male side had tall people like their granddad or great granddad, and then they marry someone who, you know, the female side, and she doesn't have tall people in her pool, her ancestry pool. The 2 of you can have a child, but the child, if both of you are short, the child can still be tall because the tumbling of the genes. Do you follow?
Can I say something?
So when you mix 2 people, sure, I'm almost done. When you mix 2 people, whether it's from different races or not, it's going to be based on the DNA of the 2 people going back to their 4 generations. Go ahead.
Well, I wanted to ask you, like, so when they say that the cause of the cause of sometimes when a child is taller than both parents is because the 2 parents are from 2 different races, what is that scientifically called? What is the theory called?
That's what I'm saying. I don't hear know where the facts you're saying is fact. Like, that's why they're taller, because they're from 2 different races. That's not really gonna always apply. You see what I mean? You're saying it's a
So it's not
theory.
a correct theory, it's false.
A theory means that it's not yet proven. It's like the Big
Yeah.
Bang Theory. Like, it's a theory, but like when you start to go and analyze it and look at the facts, it doesn't always hold to be true. So what I'm saying is, just because 2 people are from 2 different races, it's not automatically going to make the offspring taller.
Okay, so can you tell me this? Like, when 2 people from 2 different races have a child together, does that cause the child to have any genetic defects?
It depends on the 2 people. You see what I mean? You're saying 2 people, but if, let's say, if we were to be specific, like, let's say it was a Nagaru and an Adamite, then yes, because if you look at the Adamite, if the Adamite has certain genetic traits or something that is, like, for example, if they lack melanin, for example, or they don't produce melanin in excess, like how the Negroid does, then the child is going to be what we call bipolar to a certain degree, because you're going to have someone who can like basically take really hot heat, as in the sun, and then someone else who can't, and by being in the sun may get skin cancer from the sun because of the lack of melanin to excess. You see, so now the offspring, although he has the Nagaru side, they're still going to be able to relate to that side, and then but the other side, they're gonna be like conflicted, because one minute they could eat hot food or like do all the things that, let's say, the Nagaru do. And then on the other side, they may not like spicy food, or, you know, being in the heat, or listening to certain types of music. Whatever it is on the other side might be the opposite on the other side. So this is why you get sometimes people they kind of shift from one side to the next, because it can be confusing for them. Do you follow what I'm saying? So it all
Yes.
depends on the two mix, because you might mix with, let's say, a Dravidian as opposed, or Dravidian and Caucasian might mix. It all depends on the mix of the two parents and whether they have genetic defects in them. It could be the other way around. It could be between two Nagarus or Negroids, meaning, like, for example, their blood types may not be compatible. You see, that's a genetic defect. If, like, let's say someone don't check what their blood type is, and then they mix with someone, and they may result in something like sickle cell, for example. Yeah, so there are reasons for checking. This is why it's so important that when you're mixing bodily fluids with somebody, or you're going to procreate, you do need to know and do the studies of the person's family, not just them, their family. Because if they do have, let's say, mental health issues in their family, that might then pass on to your offspring. That's why most traditional cultural weddings, by, you know, people that have a culture like that, they will meet, they will study the both families, see, like, you know what I mean, what's been going on in their family tree, and both parents will then agree or, you know, disagree for the two people to kind of get married or come together. Because let's say someone has some defect, as you say, that's going to pass on and become an issue to the offspring.
Okay, so what you're saying is, like, if I am a Negroid and I met a dark-skinned Indian girl who has the same blood type as me, she would be more compatible with me than a Negroid female who doesn't have my blood type, right?
Not necessarily, but what I'm saying is that if you or her has any genetic defects, the results are still going to be the same. But the blood types, like, if they're incompatible, that can also be an issue. I'm trying to see if I can find, I don't see it here, but it's about the two people, but it's also about the races, as you say, because it doesn't matter. This is what I'm saying. If it's two people that are both Negroids, you still have to check whether or not there are genetic defects in each other, because that will produce a result. If it's one is a Negroid and it's another race, it's still the same thing will apply, whether they're a different race or not. However, when you're looking at it from the point of view of the nine ether being is going to be, in terms of genetically, naturally going to have, like I mentioned before about the melanin, it's going to be more, it's dominant. That's the word. We have to use scientific terms. So the genes are going to be dominant, you see, to the others, because you got 9 ether, then it goes 8 ether, 7 ether, 6 ether, 5 ether, and so on. So the 9 ether is always going to be the most potent or the most dominant in terms of the genetics.
Okay, and another word for Negroid is Natharu.
No, the Natharu is the overseers of the Negroids, but they oversee everything and everyone anyway. So Natharu is different from Nagaru. Nagaru or Nagar Nadu is the word in our language for Negroid. But when you're saying Natharu, you're saying the overseers. So the highest in rank in terms of the elders, who are the overseers, that's the Natharu.
Okay.
You get?
And just to make things clear, so, and an Indian would probably be 7 ether or 8 ether. So they could be compatible with an Indian female could be compatible with me in order to have healthy children. But the only thing is that I'd go down in the ether. That's it, right?
Absolutely. And you can have a partner with anyone and they may be healthy. But what I'm saying is, in terms of your genetics, you would be weakening, if you're 9 ether that is, you would be weakening your genetics. Like I'm saying,
Okay.
if 9 and 9 are together, it's going to be more potent than 9 and 8 or 9 and 7 or 9 and 6. Just the same way as if 8 and 8 are together, it's going to be more potent than 8 and 5. You follow?
Yes.
So whoever has the strongest or the dominant genetics or genes is going to be the one that is more more dominant. Yeah, but like I said, in terms of, you have to think about, there are different things you're asking. One is in terms of genetics, and the other one is in terms of race. So why would say, but at the same time, we don't dictate who you fall in love with or whoever you choose to be your mate or whatever. That's down to your choice. But we just give the facts in terms of genetics and in terms of race.
Yes.
Does that answer the question?
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, let's have a look at the chat. Oh, let's see what's going on here. We have so many. How about you open a school here in South Africa? We want to open schools all over, but it's easier said than done. You know, are you going to help us do this? Because people always say, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Why don't you do this? And we're like, we're trying to do so much for you, but we need help. And if you get the idea, or you know, that comes to you, then that's telling you should be the person trying your best to implement it, or you know, get involved to make it happen. Got another caller? Go ahead.
Rahubat Moisa, Noki, Race Ananda, Party Jui. My first question is, I was building with a brother yesterday and he was under the conclusion that Atashta Isis is the daughter of Nana Sin and that she's actually Ishtar. I just need to clear it up. I was basically telling him he needs to stop listening to so much Billy the Sellout Carson, because he's trying to tell me that Atashta Isis got her name from the Ashtar command. If I'm wrong and I'm dumb and I'm sorry, but I just need the actual facts behind it. My second question is,
All right, so the first question, I mean, I've never heard or read anywhere where the master said that, because Ishtar, I'm not sure if you were saying Arashtat or Ashtat, but the word Ishtar is the Sumerian rendition of the word Arashtat or Aset, who then becomes, in the different cultures and different languages, like Isis. Like, she has many, many names and titles throughout the different cultures. Let me see if I can find something in the Holy Tablets. So Ishtar is the daughter of Nana Sin. So in the Holy Tablets, if you look on page 1512, let's see if you can catch that. That's the picture of Ishtar. Yeah. And it tells you that she is the daughter of Nana Sin. And when we're talking about Nana Sin, right, this is where we say the names change throughout the different scriptures and different religions. You know, she's known by so many names. She's actually the person where the word aphrodisiac also comes from. Like, trying to remember her other name. Basically, she's not. I've never read anywhere where the master teacher taught that she was she got her name from the Ashtar command, because the Ashtar command, they're blonde hair, blue-eyed beings. Actually, there are many different beings in the Ashtar command as well, but the majority of them are actually, yeah, blonde hair, blue-eyed beings. So no, I don't know. If I'm wrong, then maybe some of the other student teachers or will look for the information. But ask people to give you the reference, because anybody can say and claim anything. And I think you said he got that from Billy Carson. So he would have to substantiate that. Like give us the facts, give us the evidence to prove it, not just saying it. But yeah, Ishtar is the rendition of the Greek is Isis, the Sumerian is Ishtar, the Egyptian or Tamaraean is Aset or Ashtat or Arashtat. Okay? That was the second question.
It's Jeffrey Epstein. Is he like an ego sellout that's basically working for Baal, who is in Leo, and he's Dotiliko Picni Nanasin? As far as I know, he's hiding out in Israel. Would that be true? And basically, he's an ego, a slave.
Actually, that's such a great question in the sense that what's happening now is something we've been saying all along, and we say it all the time. With the coming of the master teacher, Partner Babianun, Dr. Malachi Z.K. York, he's coming with truth, which means that all false things will be exposed and will perish. So what you're seeing happening in the world today is no coincidence that all of these things are now coming out and everyone is being exposed, because the truth is going to expose the lies. It's going to bring everything he's saying and has been saying in the holy tablets, in the books from 1970 all the way to today, covers everything that's been exposed to you now. You know, things to do with sacrifices, rituals, corruption in the government, corruption here and there, the industry, the entertainment industry, things that time traveling in terms of the tunnels on the ground. I mean, like I can read you from from Planet Risk in the 90s, where he told us about the tunnels that there were shuttles or tunnels that you can get into from New York to London. And this has been going on for many, many, many years. And a lot of the continents and positions are not as far away apart as people might see on the maps. So what this is showing you, without going into the details of, who's the players, but he spoke about the Zionists, he's spoken about religion and the world, the New World Order, and, how Third World War and extraterrestrials and, reptilians and the people that do all of it. He spoke everything you can see on social media today, exposing all of these things that are going on, is because he's here now. And everything has to be revealed, and all the truth is going to come out. All the lies are going to be exposed. All the people, all the characters, everyone that's involved in all these things that are now being exposed is going to happen whilst he's here, because that's his presence being here, is that he's going to give you the actual facts, the truth, and in doing so, he's going to expose the untruths. And it's not personal to anybody. It's not personal to any group. It doesn't matter whether you're black, white, yellow, green, purple. It doesn't matter if you're in Christianity, Judaism, Islam, or whatever religion you choose to, get involved in. It tells you these all tie back to these Anunnaki, to these reptilian beings. Other people also, David Icke was talking about the reptilian agenda. And so when you start to piece the pieces together, and the church and the state and, the different players, because people supplant themselves, even down to, the robots and the cyborgs. And now people are able to just show you a robot walking and moving in a certain way, and then show you certain people in power that were walking and moving like a robot. He's spoken about clones. you know, both twigging and the ones that have been, you know, like just genetically made by hybrids of, you know, taking genes from different beings. He's spoken about extraterrestrials that have had children here, that have grown up here. So you can be, like he says, you can be a Venerian or from someone from Venus or Venusian, or you can be someone that, you know, is born on the planet, but your parents or like your DNA matches up with extraterrestrial. We've named some of these people like Nikola Tesla, like Jimi Hendrix, like David Bowie. You know, there are many, many people that on the earth, some of the basketball players that are Nephilims, because their genetics go back to the Nephilims that came here, the giants. There isn't one single thing that I've heard or that you can hear today that's going to be shocking to, say, anyone who's been walking with the master for years. So him being here means that the truth is here and all false things will perish, but they have to be exposed first. And ironically, you know, the injustice that has been done with him, because that's what the word ma'at means, justice. And he's referred to as what? The Son of Righteousness coming with justice, right? Coming with healing in his wings. And you read that in Malachi chapter 4, verse 2 of the so-called Old Testament, right? And then, which is the last book, right? And then you read the last book in the New Testament, which again, I've mentioned many times, doesn't make sense, because how does God make mistakes? Meaning that if he wrote something and he has to change it and call it a renew or a new, that means the first one wasn't correct and he has to correct it. Like, you can't make mistakes. And then he says in the old books that not one jot or tittle shall be removed. Jesus in their book says, I've come to fulfill the law, not to change it. So you can't change God's words because they're supposed to be infallible. How can he make mistakes? Did he not know what he was going to say before he said it? And to make a mistake, it means you're not perfect, because he grieved him that he made, you know, in the Genesis books, the Genesis book, it talks about it grieved him where he saw that man was becoming wicked. But did he not know that before? Another example, did he not know that the devil was going to become bad? And if he did know, why didn't he fix it before he allowed it to happen? You see, so there are many instances where in Wu-Sabat, we just tell you, like, the gods you're talking about are these extraterrestrials, and they are the ones that have got their people on the planet following them, but they're calling them God, but they don't realize there are many gods. Even the whole thing about, if you ask, you know, the Hebrews, like, what's the name of God? You can't say God, because in Hebrew, the word is Elohim. Then you say, is there more than one? They say, no, it's only one God. But then Elohim doesn't mean one, it means plural. So these are the kind of facts that Wu-Sabat just like literally debunks and like clarifies for people. So you know that you have these disagreeable extraterrestrials that are bloodlusting. They want sacrifices. They want you to spill blood over the altar to appease them with burnt carcasses, burning animals for sacrifice. And then it filters all the way down to today, where the people that are supporting these gods and these books, they're doing exactly the same thing. Now it's just getting more and more exposed. You know, obviously, we're on platforms that we can't, you know, go into certain details because we could get flagged. So I am mindful of that. But yeah, you're seeing everything being exposed now with the Epstein files and the people involved, and the rabbit hole goes deep, as you know. So it's a good day and time we're in, because the truth is here for those who want to know the truth, and everything will be exposed as we eradicate six ether forces from the planet and just bring about a new world of not their order, but a new world of justice, not just us, the true justice, ma'at. All right. All right, let's get some questions from the chat. Yeah, we covered the will consciousness ever stop expanding? No, because the all expanding will always expand. Are witches real and how can you tell they are around you? Yes, witches are real, but like everything else, who's asking the question there? That was Lamont again. Like everything else, when you say a witch, because of the programming since you're a child, you're gonna get an image of, you know, the woman with the black cape and the black hat, pointed hat, and maybe on the what they call them, broomsticks, flying around. That is a depiction. Just like when you say the word devil, if you've been programmed from a young age to think there's a guy with horns and a pitchfork and in somewhere in heaven, hell, then that's your image. But real witches and real devils are completely different to that, right? They're people who, yes, they do certain rituals and, I forgot to call her, rituals and curses, etc. But we'll come back to that. Let's take the live call. Rahubat, greetings. How are you? Who are you? Where are you calling from? And what's your question for today, please?
Yes, greetings. How are you? My name is BJ and I'm from North Carolina.
Doing my best. Go ahead, BJ.
Yes, sir. In your opinion, if you're following religion and when you die or transition, do your soul, in your opinion, goes to like Saturn or the moon and your memories wiped out and then you come back reincarnated?
Okay. Firstly, we have to correct everything for the listening audience. We really don't give opinions. We give you the facts and the evidence based on what we're taught by the master teacher, the one who knows. So firstly, it depends if you have a soul. It depends like who you are to determine what's going to happen. It depends on how you've lived your life. Definitely, unless you have raised yourself to a higher vibration and consciousness and having a soul to transcend to the higher planes, you will reincarnate because you're given a number of chances to perfect yourself, right? And some beings are quarantined or cannot leave here no matter what they do because they are basically trapped. And so they just get recycled and they recycle and just keep, coming back. And those who haven't graduated, for lack of a better word, you have up to 24,000 cycles that you keep coming back to perfect yourself until after the 24,000th time, you won't have any more chances and that will be it. You dissipate. Remember that energy cannot be destroyed. Excuse me. Energy cannot be destroyed. So what will happen is that even though you cease to have the experience where you can now go ahead and experience different realms, you just remain at a point where you're just trapped. Yeah. So the whole reincarnation cycle is because when you are here in the physical, in the skin suit you're in, you're taught not to really focus and elevate and teach your inner being what it needs to know to do to be able to get out of here once it's crossing over. That's what we say. We say translate, transmute, crossover, because we know that you don't really die because, energy cannot be destroyed. So yes, it all depends on you, the circumstances, and your elevation in terms of how you have grown. Does that answer the question?
Yes, sir. And I had one last quick question.
Sure, go ahead.
Yes, sir. I've been praying, well, not praying, but like talking to my ancestors. Every time I open a conversation with them, I always say to my good, loving, kind, peaceful ancestors, and I talk in English and everything. Is that okay? And then I'll say, please help me in this realm, and And it seemed like it's working because I see everything and everyone as a spirit, and I see myself as a spirit, and I feel better mentally. It seems to be working. Is that okay to talk to them in English, or does it have to be in Nuu-waubian?
It's okay to talk to them in English, but it's better to speak to them in the language of tones, which is Nuu-waubian. So obviously the main thing is your sincerity and your intentions, because if you don't know any other language, then you have to communicate with them on with the language you know. So until you know better, then you do better. So it's like we say that a lot of people are still caught up in belief, and belief
Mm-hmm.
and believing is pushed in religions because they say you have to believe, you have to believe. We say it's
Mm-hmm.
okay to believe, but it's better to know, because
Right.
belief is less than knowing. It's the same way we're saying English is less than Nuu-waubian in terms of tones and vibrations. So yes, it is better to communicate with them in the language of tones, and that's why we encourage everyone to learn, learn the language, learn our language, Miss Batia, or Nuu-waubian, as you
Yes,
said.
sir.
Yeah. But also, there are specific ways that you do the ritual of communication with your ancestors, or your salafu, right? So once this is why we say we cannot always speak, because people speak in general terms. We are Nuapians or Sabians or Sabians, right? So we do what we do in our culture, which anyone who wants to apply our culture can also do. But we can't then like speak for everybody else of what they do in their culture. But within our culture, we have specific rituals in our own language, and we speak our tones and use the rituals of like communicating. So there is a specific way of doing it, and you got to get closer to the family so you can learn the proper way to do it, the proper names to use, the proper tones to call on, and how you do it. You see, so Wu-Sabat has a whole race, a whole culture, a whole deity, scriptures, language, dance. It's own everything. Just like if you were to look at, say, the Hindu culture, or the Sikhs, they have a culture, or the Chinese, and they have their deities, and they have their language, and they have everything within their culture. It's the same with us. It's just that we actually predate everyone else, and everyone else has borrowed some of our ways to incorporate in their ways, and then we've got a watered down version like the Romans and the Greeks. They had their ways, and now today most Nagarus or Negroes don't know who or what they are, what their culture is, what their true language is, who are their real deities, and their ancestors. And so when you come into Wu-Sabat, this is where you start to relearn or remember. The word Re or
Mm.
R-E is the sun, or it is to remember, to go back, read R-E-A-D. The sun, R-A, Ra. It's igniting that real fire within you, so you can start looking inwards and realize you are God, you are the goddesses, and it's spoken about in all of the scriptures, you see, but you've forgotten who you really are, what your culture is,
Mm.
and what clothes should you wear, what should you eat, when should you eat, how should you sleep, how should you walk. These are basic things, but there are sciences to all of these things. Most people don't know how to sleep. If you're sleeping on your left hand side, you're putting pressure on your organs, and you can
Mm.
damage them. So you should really sleep on your right hand side or on your back. But when you sleep on your back, again, that's a more likely time, if you are at a certain vibration, to leave your body at will, if you know what you're doing. But these are all
Mm.
sciences and things we have to relearn. So did that help?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Um.
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. If you transition and you make the grade and you transition, are you born into Natharu or like a higher dimension? And are you a newborn baby,
Tua.
or do you come?
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, you're right. Great question. This is actually death. What we call life is death. And when we're born into the other world, that's when we start living. What do I mean by that? The master teaches us that your physical body, from the time you arrive or you're born, as we say, you start aging. So every day you're aging, and you're aging because the elements around you and where you live in, especially now with the UV rays and all kinds of harmful rays, is actually making you age. Aging is to be getting closer to your transition. You see, when you transition,
Yes.
you no longer have this physical suit or skin suit, which is not subjected to the elements and the forces that you're subjected to on this planet. So you're right that what we're calling life is actually death, and what we're calling death is actually life. So we're actually being born when we go to the other side, because you don't age, you're not sick, because you don't have this physical skin suit like that to age and to be subjected to the elements. Do you follow?
Yes, sir. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Is there a book that I can get that has like the Nuu-waubian language I could learn on my own?
Yes, we also have the live course, an online course that you can go through. Is very structured and takes you from the very beginning of language all the way to learning to speak, read, and write within 6 months if you're serious and you're dedicated. And when I say
Okay.
within 6 months, you're able to use it to communicate and have conversations, etc., etc. So the link will be posted. But if you just put DS4S Academy and then go to courses, you will find that. And we also have Telegram groups where you're able to join and learn and go from the basics to very advanced. So if you're not on our Telegram group, I would suggest that you join that, because we can then give you and post all the relevant links for you. All right.
Oh, okay. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Appreciate love you too. All right. Let's get back to the chat. Rahubat Moisa. Kayefa Dirkum. Anuki happy. Okay. Just greetings. Another question. Okay, go ahead.
TikTok says, so if life is death and death is life, what is the purpose of this part of the journey?
The purpose of this part of the journey is to experience this realm and to master it, and to learn that it's like in order for you to get to that stage of the highest of life, they call it in religion, everlasting. They say, you have no more sickness and no more suffering, etc. But then they give you this concept of being in a heaven with, gardens and physical things. But the purpose of this is for you to master and learn, because you're baby when you're here. Like in terms of when you look at the higher realms or the cosmos, like you're graduating by mastering this physical. You're put through certain tests, like, and this is humanity. It's like your consciousness, your mentalness, your mind. Like, are you learning? Are you able to treat all sentient beings with ashuk, which we call divine love? Are you caring? Are you learning these lessons of how we are in harmony with natural nature, with nature? Are you going against natural nature? So the purpose of being here, and also to really learn about energy, yeah, what energy is, how do you harness it, how do you manipulate it, how do you raise your vibration to basically be in different frequencies and be able to then just master this realm, yeah. And then once you do that, when you go to the next realm, you got to do the same thing. You got to master that realm. Every realm, or I guess if we use the word vibration, that's why when we say going up and going down, there is no up and down in the sense of how people describe things in the physical, because like wherever you're on the planet, if you start to look at like gravity, like if the planet is a ball, or let's say an oblong shape, or not oblong, it's more like a elliptical shape, right? You're going to be, wherever you are standing around, your head is going to face, like if you're at the bottom looking down, your head is that way. So you can't say heaven is up, when if you're on this side, heaven's going to be up that way. If you're on the left side or right side, so basically you're being held to the planet wherever you are. So, and you're in a ball that is spinning around the sun in what people call space. So there's no up and down when you think about it in that way. So when we say elevating or going up, we're talking about vibrational, like your vibration and the frequency. Like you can tap into frequencies and manifest things. So this is for you. This is like a teaching ground for you to learn and master these things. All right. So then you can move up to the next level, and then you master that. And you keep going until eventually you can come and go at will if you make it to the higher realms and you have that leave to be able to do so. All right. Okay. Is there another one? No.
There's loads if you want.
Okay. Let me take a few from each platform. Let me look here and see what we've got. Right. So I shook everyone, tapped into this frequency. Yeah, that's what we were just saying. Simon Stern, yeah, you've tapped into the right frequency. And that's why sometimes people will say, I was just asking or praying, or like, I was just tired of this frequency, and then boom, my timeline, the video just appeared because you've tapped into the right frequency. OSM appears. Go ahead.
This is another one from TikTok. If the Bible is corrupted, why would Allah say to Muslims to go back to the people of the book?
The reality is they're all corrupted. But however, you have to look at time frames. Like whoever came first is going to have more information about what happened during the beginning or that time. So when you start to look at the Quran is only 1400 years old. So even the New Testament is 2000 years old. So it's older than the Quran. So what you have to then start to do is what we call comparative analysis. Then you look at the Torah, it's only 4,000 years old, but it's older than the New Testament, and it's older than the Quran, and the New Testament is older than the Quran. So all three of them, they go back to their patriarch, who's Abraham. Then you have to learn about who Abraham was and what did he follow, what did he study before he received, or before the Torah came about. Then you're going to find out that Abraham and his father, right, Terah, they were both in, what we call in Mesopotamia, but they followed Zoroastrianism, right? So that's where you're going to end up, but then you're going to tie them to the Anunnaki story. So none of them have an original scripture today, but the reality is that when you start to do comparative analysis, you're going to find that there's actually absolutely nothing new in the youngest ones, because they regurgitate or copy the ones from before. So that's why it says, if in doubt, go back to that which came before, meaning that you can't just read the Quran in isolation, because it talks about Abraham, and it talks about Adam, and it talks about people in the books before. So how can you just read one book in isolation when you need to learn more about the characters and the people that are being mentioned in that book? But that goes into the books that came before, like the Torah, or even if you want to say like the Sahuf, yeah, and books that are mentioned in the Quran that are older, much older. So yeah, it's about the fact that they're all actually supposed to be one, because they all come from Abrahamic times. They're Abraham's, like they all say he's the forefather of their religions. So how can you, it's like saying you only go back to your mum, and your mum is, or your mother or your father are your closest, but then you'll be like, but your mother had a mother and your father had a father and their mothers and fathers had a mother and a father. So in order for you to learn and know about you today, you have to go back to the people that came before, you see. So that's why. All right, is that it? Okay, let's go back to the chat. This is from Fab Solar. Well, actually, I've jumped down, so let's go back up. Was King James a homosexual? Because Hebrew Israelites say he wasn't, and he was. Yes, he was. But again, see, honestly, yeah, the spell has people fighting and arguing about things that honestly, like we got to get away from all of that, because whether he was or wasn't, okay, doesn't change the facts of the fact that these books, these religions are not the absolute truth. Yeah. And you got to go to the things that we need to be doing and why we need to be doing them. So our objective really is to be spreading facts and actual facts. Yes, you know, people get into this thing where they want to score points. You know, like Muslims want to score points against Christians. Christians want to score points against Muslims, and, you know, Hebrews, like all these, they're all based on belief systems, right? So we want to focus on Wu-Sabat actual facts that are going to help humanity and liberate us, you know. So yeah, those are tricks to get caught up in the arguments and the divisions and the fight. And we have a part of that called the argument. Like, why argue with people who don't know? And what's that going to do? And why trying to prove to each other who knows more and all of that? It's like we got, as they say, better things to focus on. The freedom of the one who actually knows. In fact, sometimes it's so easy, because you see these books, the degree of Christism. You see how thick this is? This is a degree, meaning like you would graduate and know everything about what you're calling Christianity, its origins, everything with this one book, right? So once you do that, and the master teacher, as we always tell you, it's another one, right? This is the degree. This is the degree of Mohammedism. Yeah, and we have another one for the degree of Mosism. And look, the title is, it's inscribed by Amanubi Rakpata, also known as Natir Arthurti Atumre, right? Known as Tahuti or Thoth, Hermes, right? This is the person that has all the secrets and all the knowledge. So that there's no time. We have so much to do. Like he's giving us information way beyond the monotheistic religion. So stop fighting and arguing about those books. All right, let's keep going. Glad it's that time again. That's A Online V7F. Yeah, every Tuesday, same time. We're glad to be here. Can you talk more about the 25 elders? That's from Eric Weems 3170. You mean the 24 elders? Again, please, when we ask questions, let's try and be as vivid and specific and clear as possible. We have a limited amount of time, and we want to get through as many questions as possible. So just saying, can you talk more about the 25 elders? It's like it's very open-ended. It's like just talking. But if there's something specific, I don't know where you're getting 25 elders from, but I'm sure you meant 24 elders. The 24 elders are the elders, as the name is, beings that have elevated to a point where they're chosen to be a council, okay, that make decisions on many things in the the so-called monotheistic religions, scriptures, they tell you that these beings circulate, or they encircle the throne of the Most High. And each one, 24,000 years of the new 24-year cycle, each one is kind of like assigned one of those years or 1,000 years. Yeah, so they do different things. They're like they're the elders that basically make decisions on a higher level in terms of, like we were talking about, they're teachers. They're the ones that get sent here as masters. Yeah, but it's very broad to just say, can you just talk more about them? So if you have a specific question regarding the 24 elders, then, we'll answer that for you. How will we know? This is from Io Revilo 2649. How will we know when the crafts will arrive to retrieve people? Some people won't know. Some people is just going to be like another day. A lot of people don't even look up most of the time. There could be a craft right there. People just carrying on with their business, doing their regular things. Yeah. But there's been many times where people have seen crafts. The crafts have been here. They've been here for millions of years. Now, when you say the crafts, there's so many crafts on the planet. They're crafts that are made here, right? We've spoken about crafts that, Hitler and the whole Third Reich, they were making crafts. Their crafts are being re-engineered. Any craft that has aerodynamics, it's got to be made here for this atmosphere. So when people say crafts, with Wu-Sabat, we try to be very specific. Are you talking about, which crafts are you talking about? Crafts come and go all the time because you have beings that travel intergalactically and they come here, do things, leave. But if you're talking about a specific craft, which one? Because there are fleets of crafts. Like Nibiru, a lot of people talk about the Anunnaki craft, Nibiru. It has a fleet of ships called Nibiru. And it itself, even when it comes, it can't come to the Earth's atmosphere. It's going to be far away because it can cause a lot of destruction on the planet because the magnetic pull it's bigger than the planet, so it can pull it, and that's why you get tornadoes, earthquakes, etc., and many things that go on. These days, it's so important to realize that a lot of things that are being exposed now are made here, like weather machines. There's so many things that extraterrestrials who have been living here for many years have shared with world governments. They've made deals and, all kinds of stuff. So there are things you see that are made from here. They're not coming from outside the planet here, but then you do have those who do. For those who are chosen to be taken up on the crafts, many people have been abducted and taken up on crafts anyway. But if you're talking about 144,000, for example, those are going to be beings that have elevated and have cleaned themselves inside out and have made the grade and perhaps to receive their higher powers, which make you a full supreme being in the sense that you receive your barothry gland back, which activates your full brain capacity. You get all your powers back in terms of the gifts, the higher senses, your telepathy, intuition, psychometry, clairvoyance. You get all of that back. And so your intellect is so high that you can do things that you're incapable of doing right now because you don't have the powers or the capacity, and you have to be worthy for that. And there are beings such as Babylon, who is the being that will be able to, I guess, vouch for you or put you on the list. And those who are going to be picked up, they will know. Because once you're able to be communicated with telepathically and guided, you will know exactly where to go, when to go. But for us as a community, it's so important because it's not about individualism. I think people think, the craft's going to come. They're just in their house by themselves, studying, chanting, meditating, doing all the things they think, reading the language by themselves. It's not about individualism. No crafts are going to come and pick you up just by yourself because you're so special. It's about gathering, okay? And our light together shines bright where they know from an aerial view that light, those people over there, that's where we need to go and collect them. That's why it's important to gather. Initially, you may have to gather in different groups, in different communities, but eventually the one who knows the guide will guide you to bring all those communities to the right place where he will be at. And then, yeah, that will then evolve into how you get taken or whatever. All right, let me keep going. How can you, this is from Eric again, Eric Weems 3170. How can I join you all, and is there any place in Baltimore are doing the same as you all are doing where I can talk with? Yes, this is why we say to people all the time, go to your nearest store, community, and break bread, get to know people. This is real, you know. So if you don't have anywhere local and near to you, join us on or an online community. Yeah, like join us. On our website you can find the join us, and yeah, make contact. Go ahead, Simone.
This one's from Instagram.
Yeah.
How many other worldly beings are with us or watching us now?
So many. When you say worldly beings, like we have a whole cosmos. That's why people who think life only exists on Earth, it's actually funny because even just on Earth, the amount of life forms that exist, I'm talking about, would you classify as a life form, right? There are microscopic life forms that are far more intelligent and live on this planet for millions of years. There are beings under the seas, the deepest seas. There are beings in the air. There are beings that have evolved to the point where they can change their molecular structure to the point where they can merge with, you know, like wood, or walk through walls and all kinds of stuff. Remember, it's kind of like saying how many different people on the planet that have been mixed. Like, you got 8 billion people on the planet, and you have 3 main root races who have all mixed with each other in one way or another, produced offspring that have also mixed. So when it comes to extraterrestrials, or what you call or classify as worldly beings, these are beings that have evolved, and there are so many different species. We've done a video already on the different extraterrestrials, just some of them that you can check out if you haven't seen that video already. You know, there's so many. We can name a few. You got the greys. There are many species of greys. The reptilians, the draconians, the draconians and different species of them. You have the Teros, the Deros, the Dwanis, the Ashtar Command, the Anunnaki, the Natharu, our ancient ancestors, and yeah, the Ramadians. There's so many, and some live in the seas, as I said. Some live on the planet. Some have mixed with people on the planet and have had children on the planet, taken DNA and made different hybrids. So it's a very broad question. You have to wake up to the reality sometimes that when you're looking at people, the question is, who is not an extraterrestrial? That's more likely than who isn't. Go ahead.
Was Nikola Tesla an alien? And if so, was he a conehead or was he part of Yakub's creation?
No, he was an alien, or what you call an alien. We say extraterrestrial, yeah. But he wasn't a conehead, and he wasn't part of Yakub either. His parents, as I said, I think the whole, in fact, let's see if I can find it. I don't like trying to find things on the live, but I might be able to. because sometimes it just takes too much time. But the Nikola Tesla is not only, listen, most of the people you mentioned, yeah, this is why this holy tablets, although it expired in the year 2000 AD, it speaks about anyone. Look, just look at that. That's Adolf Hitler, for example. So his old story is in here. As I flick through, I'm trying to find Nikola Tesla. I saw him the other day. But yeah, he was, it's like his parents were from Venus, if I'm recalling correctly. Maybe I'll get you to King to have a look and see if you can find him in the meantime. But yeah, he's in here. I want to see if I can find it. Oh, I just saw someone. Let me just see. I just saw someone else that a lot of people basically name them if they're important in the history of this planet. They're in here. All right, let me just let you try and find it, and I'll take some other questions. But yeah, but anyway, he was. It's like Elvis was another one. There are people. Jimi Hendrix. I mentioned David Bowie. I mentioned Edward Scarlin, Coral Castle. There were many people on the planet that were seeded or birthed here, but their parents are extraterrestrials. Remember, Nikola Tesla, his whole thing, he was the first one to pioneer interstellar communication. So how was he able to do that? And he was, communicating with people from his descendancy, and he obviously was into like knowing about natural energies and how to use telecommunications and how to use, natural free energy from the grid of the planet and so on and so on. So yeah, he was definitely an extraterrestrial. Hopefully when we find it, we'll come back to it. Maybe there's some more information I can share. Okay, so we're going to carry on with the next question from Reyes Ananda. Swear I'm getting psychic. I knew Kenneth will be the first to call. Big up my Jamaican people. All right, yeah. I mean, that's another thing. As we're starting to raise our consciousness, we're starting to receive and are able to do things that we used to consider to be miraculous. I do it all the time, like in terms of what you're saying about being psychic or, telepathic, or, do you know what I'm saying? Because what's that? Telepathic, the master teacher teaches us, is a telephone to the Pathaites. So we have that ability to be able to communicate mind to mind, regardless of where we are. All right. Let's keep going. And someone else agreed with that as well. See, that's what we'll call mind link. You start to get in tune with each other. That's why once we're on the same mental vibration or frequency, we automatically start to unite worldwide, regardless of where we are. So that's what Wu-Sabat is here to do. Looking for another question. Let's get the master out this year. 1000%. We need, yeah, we do. And people say that, but like I say, when it comes to the actual work, following instructions and doing what we need to do, we then start to fall asleep. Let's go to our nearest bookstores, go to the communities, get involved, help spread Wu-Sabat, uplift humanity, just speak truth. We got our friendship day coming up, right? This is what it's designed for, because it's about letting go of petty things. Don't let things weigh you down. Go by hearsay. If you have any issues with anyone, you're meant to squash it, because we counteract the pagan ritual that they call Valentine's Day. learn and study and research things. Don't just do things and participate in things without knowing that you're being used or being a part of a ritual that, you know what I mean, keeps emanating negativity on the planet. So our friendship day is where it's about love in terms of divine love, a shook coming together and letting bygones be bygones, and don't hold on to stuff. Don't fake the funk. Don't pretend, you know, like when we're becoming one, like we can read each other's minds and thoughts. So don't pretend and say to someone, oh, you know, it's all about love, and then you have a thought that is opposite to what you're saying. So it's a very real thing. And so come along, mingle, meet and greet, and listen to live music, have a 3-course vegan meal, and, you know, just have fun and get to, excuse me, socialize and generate and share that natural love that I shook. So yeah, I see you said you're willing to help in the Baltimore, so you have to connect. I don't know from the top of my head the nearest community to you, but you can go to our website, official worldwide website, unitedsabiansworldwide.com, and look at look at the contact us and see where your nearest location is. The master teacher said we must all come together first. That's the task. That's right. Okay, let's keep going. Any more questions? Is there a best time to go to sleep at night to aid our higher selves? Tua. Oh, someone said David at confusion, laughing out loud. Yeah, it is, but I mean, he was actually exposing a lot of the reptilian agenda and talking about, you know, stuff about the royal family and so forth many years ago. We don't say him or use him as to say he's all right, wise, and exact, but there are some people that were ahead of the game and were exposing things that are now being, you know, being made true. So, but yeah, we are not saying, yeah, we're not saying go and like follow everything and say that he says is true. You got to still use your own judgment. All right, we have a live caller, Rahubat caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? And what's your question, please?
Wu-Sabat, Dre calling from United States, South
Rahubat.
Carolina to be specific. I had like 2 or 3 questions. My first question was with the Super Bowl, were they using that as symbolism to show the fall of the patriotic system and the return to, I guess, monarchy of the original natives that own the land by showing the Hawks beating the Patriots?
I know it's a ritual. They do use it for ritual to harness energy because it's a massive event that happens, you know, regularly, and the way stadiums are designed, even just regular matches, you know, football matches or what you call soccer and so on, they're all about generating the energy from the crowds, whether it was, you know, specifically for what you've just said, I'm not sure of. However, it is also, like I mentioned previously, the day and time where people are seeing through things now. Years ago, when these rituals were taking place, people didn't realize that they were being involved in something, you know, that was a ritual to these beings. But now a lot of people's eyes are open, so now people see through this. They see through the symbolism. They see through what they're wearing, the whatever's going on. Now people just see through it because everything is exposed now. And as we're going into the era of we are in the Aquarian age. Yeah, that I know for sure that they do use them to try and harness energy for their extraterrestrial beings or the beings that are over, you know, the puppets on the planet. So they do all of these rituals and generate that energy for them, because competitions always create, you know, both sides, one that wins and one that loses. And the one that loses, it's a negative energy that's emanated Go ahead to the next question.
Next question I was going to ask. Is it true that there's more pyramids or ziggurats or mounds over here in Americas, North America and South Americas than it is over in Africa? But they have us programmed here in America to always leave to go to Kemet or Kush, South Sudan and stuff like that, and to not pay attention to the mounds that we have like in Illinois, Alabama, and
That's right.
Mississippi along the river?
That's right, yes. And this, even just in Sudan alone, there are more pyramids, but they focus just on the Giza plateau. You know, they just deal with that, the three pyramids of Giza, but there are pyramids all over the planet, and because the structures, although were taken from Egypt, the energy. Remember, shapes generate particular types of energy, and pyramid is the most solid sound structure there is, because it emanates standard columnar waves or tachyon energy, which comes out like the double helix. And yeah, the mounds in America, in South America and America, this is why even where we were, our land in Eterton, that was near to Eagle Rock Mound, which was, you know, again where our ancestors were. So you're right, and the step pyramids, and you know, there's so many structures. The structures were built along the ley lines of the planet for extraterrestrials to do certain things, to harness certain energies, certain projects. Some of them were abandoned uh, because, you know, there were wars or conflicts between the gods, and some people fled and left. It's happening again now with like a lot of the sinkholes that people are seeing, where, you know, crafts have been moved or have left. So yeah, you're right. There are pyramids all over the world.
So,
The reason the
quick,
ones
quick.
in Giza are
I was gonna
so,
say,
sorry, go on.
and I was gonna say for like clarification, then because there's a lot of information, or I guess it's mixed information or wrong information. A lot of people are saying that this is the old land, also that Egypt was in Mississippi, because there's a Cairo in Mississippi where there's like an Egypt pyramid built, and there's the river like the Nile. So that's just misinformation, and they're saying like the maps were put in reverse to confuse us.
A lot of things were put in reverse to confuse us. The thing is, you have to remember. Did you find it? You have to remember that the whole land mass was once together as one. I'm trying to think, where did I see that Nikola Tesla picture today? Sorry, I'm getting distracted. But yeah, the land was one anyway, and there
Right.
was a center. And what happened is that a lot of the culture from what people are calling Egypt is the same people that were on the other side. And so they literally had the same things. And the story of Egypt is literally printed on the dollar bill in America. Like, they literally stole the stories and stole the country and rebuilt it. As in, it's like, okay, take for example the Chinese, right?
Uh huh.
You go anywhere now on the planet now, most of the places they will have a Chinatown, and in Chinatown they're gonna replicate the things that they have in the real China. Do you see what I'm saying? So
Right.
you can go to America and a place in America and experience Chinatown. You can go to here in London and go to Chinatown, and when you go there, it's the culture and some of the buildings and the artwork and everything's the same. So that's what happened with the people that were already on the other side of the continental drift. They
Right.
remain. This is why the argument that Negroids have between each other about who's African and who's American doesn't really make sense, because you're the same people. It's just that some stayed on one side and others stayed on the other side. Originally, you could just walk over. This is how the original people that walked over and settled in what they're calling South and North America today, the original
Right.
inhabitants
That's
were
back when it was so called what, Pangea, or a different
exactly,
name when
yeah,
everything was one.
that's right. And they came over and they became known as the Olmecs. They brought with them the rubber plant. And so when you look at people saying, I'm not African, I'm American, Yes, it's true, but when you start to go deeper than location, you have to go to the DNA, and their DNA are going to be the same. So why are you arguing about who's African, who's American? Because no matter where we are on the planet, what is tying us is our DNA. That's why now everyone can be classified within the three major root races of being Homo naledi, Homo habilis, which is the African, or the Denisovan, and Homo florensis, which is all the Asians, and then you have the Neanderthal and the Cro-Magnon. So people try to claim locations because that's what happened. You got named
Right.
where you,
Indoctrinated.
yeah, you got. It's like I say to people, if you were born on a plane flying across the ocean, where would you say you're from? You can't put on your birth certificate, I'm from the Pacific Ocean. You
Right.
know, it's got to be based on like your DNA and your parents and where they come from. And so that's why we have to unite as one and stop this I'm not African, I'm not American, and yeah, divisions that are really unnecessary. But yeah, you're
Okay.
right.
Quick question. Final question. In the Grand Canyon, they found like pyramids and other things that was what is it, Hindu or Nirvana influence, also Kemet influence. Was there a Stargate or portal there where they were traveling from both sides, pretty much African continent, to just teleport to the American continent? Because they said that Akhenaten's tomb is in the Grand Canyon. That's why NASA has it blocked off, and it's illegal for a regular person to go there.
Yeah, they say a lot of things, and they have a lot of social media videos generated by AI now that are again distorting many facts. But as I was saying at the beginning, the land is not that far apart as is shown on the maps, and the way you travel when you have to take a plane to go on a long distance to get to some place where you can just travel in a straight line and get to. Like the Grand Canyon is where people can literally walk from, as you say, from India or from like Asia to America and to Africa. It's not really that far. There are some parts where you can look across the river or the ocean and see the other continent. But because of the programming, as you say, with the maps and the distortion and the turning things around, a lot of this was done for the Nagaru not to remember and know who they are and make that connection back and link back to our ancestors. You see, so now a lot of things are being made clear because it is the time for truth. So now people are starting to explain and discover, like I said, like it's really not that far between the continents. If you're looking at a map and looking at a drawing that has been pushed for many thousands of years, you're going to think that it is true. But the sizes and everything have been distorted. So yeah, you're right. There are gateways or what we call portals that literally link everything up. And there's a map called I Am America map, yeah, by a child called Laurie Toy, who had a vision that drew this map, and it shows you where these vortexes are, where they're located. And the vortexes mean that you can go through one, what you people call them, you know, gateways, stargates or portals. They're different, basically energy centers that you can walk through and just arrive somewhere else. So many things
But
that
to do that, do you have to have it calibrated a certain way so you won't, I guess, unalive yourself with going through it?
yes, that these are the sciences that the master is teaching us, like removing metals from your body, cleaning yourself inside out, because you know some of these you have to deal. You're dealing with electromagnetism, and you know when you say electro, you're dealing with electricity, electric, and magnetism, or you know we say electromagnetism. The magnet is it's an attraction. So yes, there are certain things that it's like if you're going to touch a live electricity wire, you're not going to just put your hand on it because you're going to get electrocuted or you're going to get shocked. Instead, you have to wear like rubber gloves, or you know you have to be able to conduct yourself in a way that you're not going to get harmed by, you know, the powerful electrical charges. So when you're going through some of these portals, yes, if you're full of metals and full of things that are going to be, you know, triggered by, it's like even when you go for an x-ray or you go for an MRI scan, or even when the baby is being, you know, scanned in the mother's womb, you know, they have to use particular frequencies, you know, like to be able to take pictures or see the brain and so forth. So when you're dealing with technology, it's the same principle. And you have to, yeah, you're right. You have your vibration and your frequency. You have to be prepared in a particular way. Even the Ark of the Covenant, you know, you couldn't just touch it or hold it because you had to be wearing a particular type of clothing and be prepared in a particular way. But in the Bible, they make it sound like, you know, you had to be some special person that was chosen by God to be able to touch it, when it's really just dealing with sciences of, like I said, like you need to know you're not going to just put your hand in fire, or, you know, put your hand on electrically charge something that's going to electrocute and shock you to death. You follow?
Right, correct.
Yeah.
Thank you. So,
Absolutely, you're welcome. All right, let's move on to the next one. How can I continue to elevate my consciousness frequency and be a better ally? My grandfather is called a Negrito from the Philippines, but my maternal side is more from Asia. You continue by studying, by reading, by doing the things, the spiritual practices that help you, what's the word, charge up your etheric body, and you have a body that's not the physical body. So you have to do things like that feed and give that, but like a lot of people, for example, we eat a lot, you know, like we constantly eat it, and the digestive system gets basically overworked, and by doing that it builds up a lot of toxins, parasites. This is where we start to get dis-ease, we say disease. So what you have to do is clean yourself off of the metals. Stop eating. The fasting will detoxify you. Then you drink lots of water because you're gonna deal with the electrical part of you, the light being part of you. The meditation calms your mind so that you can utilize energy in a more appropriate way. The mindfulness, the care and concern, showing nature that you're in tune with it. So all of these things, right? This is for you, Jay Jasper, right? All of these things raise your vibration, yeah, or give you more energy. It's not just about your physical composition, you see. So if you don't worry or focus on the mundane physical things, like most people just are preoccupied with what they're going to wear, what they're going to eat, what their body looks like, so much so that the influences of the media would dictate, like, you know, look like this, wear your hair like this, get a, you know, BBL, get this, get that, and people just get so preoccupied with the physical part of them, they neglect the actual essence of them, or their inner being that is more powerful. Because at some point your skin suit, which is really just bacteria, is going to remain here. And so we have to make sure that, to answer your question, you're doing things of high vibration. We've got another caller, so I'm gonna.
I'll call them back.
Okay. Yeah. So that was for you, Fab Solo. No,
They
wait.
hung up.
No, that's not you, Fab Solo. Who was I just answering? I've just lost the question. Oh yeah, it was Jay Jasper. Yeah, but I missed that Fab Solo. So let me go back to that one. What
Hello.
makes... Oh, we got a live caller. Greetings, Rahubat, as we say. What's your name?
Rahubat.
Where you calling from, and what's your name and what's your question, please?
I'm calling from Maryland in the United States.
Greetings. Go ahead.
I'm calling to ask the question about the deity aspect for the female.
The deity.
Um, the deity aspect, correct? The aspect of the female's
Oh, the
deity.
aspect. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yes. Um, I'm calling about that because it seems like if the woman has the XX and the male has the defective X, it seems like the male has lost his deity and not the female, logically, if you're looking at it from that perspective, because one is lacking. So if they're lacking, the male has lost his deityship as well.
Okay, so
And it just seems like that Dr. Abodanyun, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. I hope he gets out real soon. I'm praying for him to get out, but it just seems like he will reach. It would seem it would be better that it's placed that this culture is still placing the blame on the female.
oh no,
Because
not at all. We're
yeah,
not.
well, the way it's being presented is the female lost her deity. She has to get it back. Same way with the Christians. Oh, Eve, she did the one that had the apple. She ruined it all for the men.
No,
That's how a lot of the women here are interpreting it.
no
So
that
maybe you want to place that a little clearer,
sure.
because it seems like the women are being blamed because we don't lost our deity. Men has lost their deity as well. I
Okay.
mean, nobody's speaking about the deity that men has lost, but it just seems like it's all the geared as the woman is failing. She's supposed to be king or she's supposed to be the ruler. It doesn't just seem logical how Dr. Palamnu is coming to restore the women, but he needs to restore the men's thinking as well, because it doesn't seem like the women have the problem. We know that we're head of the household.
All right.
Men don't understand. The men doesn't understand that. We've been going through this for years over here in the U.S., where we knew that that was the female ruler, and then you had that her spouse or her mate was the warrior who was in charge of the army.
Kamamtat,
The
can I
women,
just
yeah, the women over here back in the historic time, we had the ability to rule because we had the emotion to see through that. Where when men rule, they have a masculine rule of a
Kamamtat?
one
Sorry,
way.
I need to
You,
interrupt you because
okay, I'm
you
sorry. I'm gonna be a
yeah
good
you've
listener.
gone into preacher mode. I'm trying to get to the question, right? And
Oh, okay.
there were
Sorry.
a lot of misinformation and assumptions.
Yeah,
we do not teach that the woman is to be blamed. We don't teach that at all, and we don't teach that the man doesn't hasn't lost his divinity either. What we are teaching is that the female is the original goddess, right? And the
correct.
fact that the whole religious world, the monotheistic religious world, as you've also touched on, they try to blame or put the woman, suppress the woman and put her down by starting off
Mm-hmm.
with a lie to say that a man was created first and then the woman was created by a rib being taken from the man to form or create the woman. This is a lie. This is not actual facts. So what Baba is teaching us is that that suppression over many, many years and the women then regressing and submitting to that, submitting to the man as if the man is God, because the books that they tell you of this God that was responsible for creating man, ironically, that God himself is a man. He created a man. The people that are the head of these books, like Abraham, Adam, and Moses, all the way to the most recent societies, whether you're looking at the church, political parties, or businesses, are all headed by men, or were up until the time that the woman started to wake up again. So when Parnabab Yanun is explaining that the woman has lost her divinity, if the woman is head or top, and the man comes from her, which is the opposite of what they're trying to teach you, then if the woman's lost her divinity, the man that is less than her would have also lost his divinity, right? But the woman's
Correct.
lost her divinity because she doesn't remember or doesn't recognize this game, this long lie that has been perpetrated for 6,000 years, that the man is on top. So what we're saying, and what Partner Babylon is saying, is that the woman has to be reactivated or wake back up and recognize her power and who she is. Put her back, put her first, instead of the lie that God and all the men are the ones that are in rulership. And that even in the Trinity, as they say, they underplay the woman, because they say God the Father, God the Son, and then they go to the Holy Ghost, bypassing the mother. So we have an actual fact called the quadrity, which explains that the woman is first, because without woman, there would be no he or she. So if God is a
Yeah,
he,
yeah.
right?
I understand that. I
Right.
understand the concept that you have explained, even when you explained it on TV. It just seems like that is maybe you're preaching. I'm not going to use the word preaching. That's probably incorrect. That that the information that you're giving out, it because I've spoken with a lot of girls around here that I have referred them to watch it, and they're saying, wait, he seemed like he's blaming us.
Okay,
And I
that's a
said, well, let me,
misconception.
let me, let me,
Yeah.
yeah. They said they're interpreting it as, oh, it's still the woman's fault because we
Okay.
lost our deities, so now the men have to be in charge, so it's our fault all over again.
No, not at all. But the thing is, what I would say is, as much as the master teacher has been putting the woman back in her rightful place on top, when we
Hmm.
look around, we don't, the women themselves are not, obviously there are some, if you look around the world now, the women, regardless of race, they are actually now more women in high positions, and the master told us that this was going to happen. But you don't see the women really stepping up or coming up front as much as they're supposed to, and we say they are. So obviously in our culture, we recognize them as being the goddesses and being first, and that we have to work together hand in hand, and use both our left and right brain. And the master is putting out scrolls like the sacred feminine, the lotus of Ra,
Right.
on the sacred feminine, so that women can actually learn and start to teach and step up front. Because sometimes people say we only see men in the organization. The master
Yeah,
teaches them,
because we only see men in your organization as well.
right?
We
But I'm
only
saying,
see men, so I'm pretty sure you do have some women. They're probably camera shy, so they're still low in their deity as well. Do you have any women that are willing to speak to other women on the podcast? Because yeah,
absolutely,
we're getting the message for you, but we know this is for the women.
yes. But we're
And
saying,
the men need to get through the men, that you guys need to let the women rule, and the women need to get through the women. Hey, you need to go and step up.
right. So what
And
we're
I'm not
saying
trying to
is,
break it up. I would like for it to be a co-ed thing, but it doesn't seem like the co-ed thing, the way that you're doing it, because we're still seeing a masculine in charge on a TV screen.
we're not in
We
charge.
still see a masculine. We
No,
still
I
see
hear
the
you.
patriarch.
We're saying we want the women to come up front and step up. The master's
And
been
be in
saying
front of
that.
the camera.
Yeah, we have some, and we do definitely want more. And I'm saying, like, nothing is stopping them from doing so.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, because we haven't seen them.
What
We see
there
the
is
three
one. If you
men,
watch
and
the
then you
video,
got a new guy that's coming on who's kind of cute, and he has a nice, yeah. I kind of like him too. Young
yeah,
Buck is doing well. Tell him to hang in there. He'll get on tongue tie soon as he gets used to speaking. But yeah, I would like to see some women come on there and do some teachings.
are you ready
To
to come
speak
on and do
directly
some
to
teaching?
women. I haven't really joined your subscription yet because I'm still waiting for a woman to come on.
Did you
At least
see?
one woman to come on there with you to talk.
I hear you. I hear you. And the women are here
Right,
listening.
because I
So
can't support another
I hope you can
patriarchy.
hear that,
I
Zamata.
can't support another patriarchy culture where I don't see a woman on this broadcast.
We're here, Zamota. We're here. Come close. We're here. Yes.
Are you camera shy?
Rahubat. Naut. Naut. But
I need to see you. I need to see you up there with my brother.
All right.
all
Well,
right.
there you go. I'm
We
glad
can
you're
ask the
speaking to.
questions.
Where are you?
Okay, I live in Maryland. I have my own herbal shop.
Tour.
Don't worry.
I'm
We're
trying
gonna
to
get
heal
them
the
up
people
here.
with herbs. I'm trying to heal my community with herbs, so I opened up a herbal shop.
Tour, Zamota. We'll get your details. We'll stay close.
And
Okay,
just
great.
for the record, we have a
Yes,
video
sir.
called "Every Woman Needs to Watch This" and send it to a sister on our channel, right?
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
the title is "Every Woman Needs to Watch This" and send it to a sister, and it's from one of our
Okay.
sisters in where they at again? New Jersey.
Downstairs
Thank
on the
you.
chair. As
Yeah,
soon as you
so
want to do it.
New Jersey. So get all those sisters that are with you to gather together and watch it together.
Yeah, because they come to my herbal shop to learn how to mix their herbs to heal their body. Because I have blending classes.
Yeah,
So they be asking me about the Wu-Sabat, and I'm like, look, I'm not an expert. I've been watching it for about 2.5 years, but I don't know it all.
right.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
we're gonna
okay,
definitely
great.
because of time we have so many more questions to get through, but we're gonna take your details. Definitely get those. We call them sacred feminines or the
Okay.
feminine to watch that video. Every woman needs to watch this and send it to a sister. We're waiting, and we are also excited for our sisters to come on the platform and start to take their rightful position.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're
Have a
welcome.
wonderful day.
You too. Tawutat. Wadu.
Tell you back. Bye-bye.
Okay, there you go. The sisters have spoken. And this is more reason why you should come to Friendship Day. So you can see all the sisters. And they're going to also be able to talk to you and interact and mingle. And it's online as well. So no matter where you are in the world, you can still get your tickets. We got 4 days left. You can get an online ticket. So you can actually see these females, our sacred feminine. And I like it. I like that call because sometimes, it seems like it's the men, but the women themselves or the sacred feminine, you all got to take on that role, that responsibility. It's your time. Your time to rule and for us to work with you side by side. So you've heard the powerful sister calling. All right, let's keep going with the questions. Love the dedication of OSM and all the student teachers. That's from Fruit Kid 4759. We appreciate love your kind words. Everyone does help by spreading the word, commenting on the videos, liking, sharing, subscribing. Listen, we have billions of people on the planet that are not yet exposed to Wu-Sabat and to Parnabab Yanun and the master teacher, Dr. Malachi. I said that like there were two different people, but Parnabab Yanun, the master teacher, we have to get him home. And the more people know about him, the more likely we're going to let the world know that this being is here and is here to help humanity and raise our consciousness so that we can be the divine supreme beings that we're supposed to be. All right, let's keep going. Are you a Kemetic Catholic with your cross Ankh? This is why it's so important to study. First of all, if you were studying the books or asking us questions, right? I know this is a question and it's good because we're going to clarify it. It's not a cross Ankh. The cross is a completely separate thing, right? Because as we say, there's always agreeable and disagreeable. What does the cross represent? If you really go and do the research, the cross represents a symbol of death because it's a symbol of, they say, Jesus being crucified on the cross. which they say crucifixion, which is a fiction, a fictional story, right? I know people don't want to hear this, but when it comes to Wu-Sabat, we know sometimes the truth hurts, but we have to tell it as it is, because truth is truth, right? So the Ankh, on the other hand, represent, go and do the research. It's a key of life. So one is representing life, one is representing death. What this is the double Ankh, or we call it the Ankh Tui, because Tui in our language means two. All right, so when you read the books and study or come to our classes, you get clarification on our symbols. We're not a Kemetic Catholic. Catholic has nothing. The word Catholic, again, is a play on words. Cat is the worship of the cat. Cat holistic, yeah? Because the cat that they were worshipping was the Sphinx in ancient Egypt. Because most of your religious stories have been grafted from the ancient Egyptian stories. We predate all of them. So when you say Kemet, again, Kemet ties you into the biblical books, because the word Kemet ties into Ham or Chem, which is one of the sons of Noah. So in order for the Bible and the Quran and the monotheistic religious books to have a hook or some kind of bait or authenticity, can't say the word, authenticity, I can't say it. All right, you know what I mean, authentic. In order for it to be authentic, they have to give you a bit of truth. So Egypt is real, because you can take a journey to Egypt. You can take a journey to Egypt and see that the pyramids are real, and the writings on the wall are real, and the deities and the big, what you call statues are all real. So when you're reading the Bible and it talks about Egypt, you think that it's authentic. No, they're just bits of 10%, if that has been incorporated. So we are not Kemetic, we predate what you're calling Kemetic, because we go pre-dynastic. Go ahead.
Just before answering this caller,
Yeah.
someone said, "Can women wear Anktuis?"
Absolutely. That's why I said go and watch the video. Yes, women can wear the Ankui. We have many different versions of it as well. Like go to the United Sabians Worldwide and just search Ankui or Ankh, and you will see what comes up. All right, go ahead with the question. Greetings, live caller. What's your name, where you calling from, and what's your question, please?
Hey, my name is Andrew, and I am calling from Austin, Texas.
Hey, Andrew, go ahead. Rattle back.
Robot, I have a question. So I've been looking at like the Epstein files and stuff lately, and they've called us like Goyams. I was wondering if like you know anything about that, and if you can explain what that is,
Yes.
where the word come from, as well as if that has any type of relation to Wu-Sabat.
Okay, Tua. So that is the word Gentiles, right? So those who claim to be Jews, who are really Jebusites, they call anyone else who they don't consider to be of that bloodline a Goin, which basically means a Gentile, yeah? And it's the same, that many words are used to try and isolate people and say that they're Gentiles. So, but the thing is, it's a play on words as well, because when you look at, like I just gave you, for example, the names of the people, like Jebus is where you get the word Jebusite, and then Amor, you get the word Amorite. You got like the 11 sons of Canaan. Just Google or search the 11 sons of Canaan and Canaanites. This is dealing with specific people, and it ties into the Khazars and the Ashkenazim of, like they're actual Russians and Europeans. So there is a distortion of who the true Israelites are. And so, yeah, that's what it's referring to. It's referring to people they consider to be not chosen, and they call them Gentiles or Goyim.
Okay. And if you don't mind me asking one more question.
Sure, go ahead.
Where can I buy the scrolls from? You guys have like a few websites. One of them's like a .uk, and I think I've seen like a .com. Some of them are sold out. I'm not really sure what website to go to for me to purchase the books and have them delivered to my address.
That's a great question. The two main websites, obviously, is the worldwide website, United Sabians, worldwide.com, and then the shat.co.uk website. But you were right, many titles are sold out because Partner Babyanun, the master teacher, he told us and warned us about this many years ago, that many people, once the truth starts to get around and they read this, because they're going to come to us for these books and for the information, and our titles get sold out. I mean, when you have like a 1,000 or so titles, just the logistics of just printing all of those titles and having all of them available, when some of them have been new editions have come out, but obviously with his incarceration, it's been difficult because we've been dispersed and we're not as organized and as efficient as we used to be, because once somebody disrupts your entire kind of like home and you're now operating in a very limited way, it's much more difficult to function as the way we did. But those two sites will give you a lot of the scrolls. Many
Give me
people,
the second side again, please. I'm sorry. I have United Sabians Worldwide written down. And what's
right,
the
we're
other
going to
one?
put them both in the chat. But
Thank
the
you.
other thing that I need to point out is that you have people who don't care for the culture that are exploiting and actually bootlegging and putting out fake versions of, the scrolls and charging extortionate prices for
Yeah,
them as
I seen
well.
that.
Yeah, so we always say to people, like, go to your nearest bookstore, get close to your nearest community so that you might get authentic versions, and also there may be people that have spare copies, etc., that they may be willing to sell off or give to you for free. But we are working hard to get back to the point where all our publications are in circulation. The logistics of, just like I said, of people don't realize how much work publishers would probably know, or people that have authored books, what it takes to really print and put out millions of books, if not billions of imagine 1,000 copies that you need to have billions copies of for everyone to be able to get their hands on. It's a logistical challenge, and we're doing our best, and many books will be coming back into circulation. But this is something we're working on, so appreciate love your comment.
Okay, cool. And thanks for answering my question. I'll
Absolutely.
look at those links that you posted in the chat.
Toa.
Stay safe.
You too. All right. Let's keep going to the next one. Right, this is from Fab Solar. What makes the 30 ancestors in our DNA agreeable or disagreeable? Does it have to do with how they left this world, or does it have more to do with whether their nature is agreeable or disagreeable? It's based on you, because right now you are their antenna, or like they live through you, because if they've crossed over or transitioned, you now decide who you align to, and that is based on your actions. But yes, depending on how they lived their life and what they did during their time here, they may be trapped and being utilized to affect you negatively if they were disagreeable, or the other way. This is why you have both natures in you, and it's about one conquering the other, meaning that your agreeable nature should conquer your disagreeable nature, because your disagreeable ancestors that are coming through you, they want to utilize your physical vessel to do their disagreeable things, or to still continue to experience the things that kept them trapped. And that means, for example, you're doing something. Remember, everything is energy at the end of the day. So when you have fear, when you have worries, when you have things that are vibrating on a lower vibrational frequency, you're actually feeding that negative force, and you're pulling yourself to that vibration. Whereas when you're doing everything the opposite, where you're healthy, you're eating well, you're joyful, you're cheerful, you're focusing your mental energies on achieving positive things, helping people, humanity, helping and doing things that are going to help, cleaning yourself inside out, avoiding disagreeable acts, then you're going to suppress the disagreeable within you. And so when you become an ancestor, now remember that if you have children, they're going to be calling on you. So you got to make sure that you don't get trapped because of your low vibration. And so, yes, it's dependent on everyone, but more importantly, it's dependent on you and what your nature is like, because they can only utilize your negative nature if you're disagreeable. Yeah, I hope that helps. Let's keep going. Covered that one already. Is there anything on, all right, let's have a look. What's that page gone? Okay, let me carry on with the ones on YouTube. And if you find anything that you want to draw my attention to, let me know. I'm trying to find that page you had open. It's gone.
I'll give you a question if you want.
Not yet. Do you think you can find
What is it?
remember the page you had with the questions? Let me give you this.
Oh,
you don't.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. There. All right, cool. Let me just.
What? Should I give you one while you do that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you tell if friend, family member, or have met is governed by evil extraterrestrials versus God's true followers?
The God true followers is a bit of a religious question. You have to deal with what people do, right? Their actions and their intentions. Action speaks louder than words, as they say, right? So what I'm basically saying is that when you're around people, it can be subtle sometimes not to recognize or realize, but over a period of time, you can see whether or not someone that is around you is constantly influencing you to do disagreeable things or go into situations that are going to cause you, to be more on a negative vibration. And then you're going to have those who influence you positively, you see. So I see you got...
Just another question.
Okay. So you have to monitor and watch and like look back and track the situations and how they treat you and how they are when you're in a low state and how they are when you're in a high state. Like they say, like, who are your true friends when you are in a situation that, like, for example, when everything's great and you're doing well, they're all there to enjoy that. But then when you're in a situation where you don't have those things or you're not in a great situation, who's there to actually help and lift you up and, be there for you? So you will be able to tell by their actions whether they're being influenced by disagreeable beings or not. If you're using God in a sense of saying positive, then yes, in that sense, yeah, God's people are going to do positive things. But you have to be very careful with that word God, because it's a very religious term and there are different types of God and many gods, and both agreeable and disagreeable gods. So just be a bit more specific. But go ahead with the next question.
The age of Aquarius. What's your thoughts on and about it?
That's what we just spoke about. That's the era we're in now. It's the new consciousness, the new vibration, the time where truth is going to be predominantly the ruler. And that's why you see all around the world right now, lies and things are being exposed. And people are starting to wake up and recognize that, they were under a spell of religion for 6,000 years, a spell of control, a spell of thinking you think you know what's going on, or thinking the world you live in is a particular way, but it actually isn't. And people are waking up to this. Some people don't mind staying in ignorance or in a belief system because it's easier for them to not confront and deal with the truth. But anyone who is about truth has to confront the truth. Or you're going to be like the movie The Matrix, where the guy was eating a steak and he said, I know this is not steak, but ignorance is bliss. He chooses to believe that it is. And people choose to believe stories and, like lies that have been told to them for thousands of years. And when somebody else comes along and gives you the facts or the truth, some people find it very difficult to adjust or to deal with. Others are liberated because they're like, wow, all these years I've been afraid of going to a place called hell. I'm going to get burnt and, forever. When you actually use your mind and reason it out, it doesn't make sense. How can something burn forever? How do you burn a spirit? Because your body goes back to the ground, right? They say. How do you burn a spirit that has no physical material to burn? You need oxygen, you need material things. You need oxygen and you need something to burn. And that's why the burning will give off carbon dioxide, yeah? So you take in oxygen, something burns and it gives off carbon dioxide. So when you start to look at things scientifically and break things down properly, it makes no sense to be torturing yourself and be afraid of going to somewhere that you're going to burn forever. How hot is the fire that it can't burn you? And like I said, how do you burn a spirit or how do you burn a soul? So the misinterpretation and distortions of religions is what causes the unrest and the fears and the worries, and then people get sick from it because they actually think that there's someone with a pitchfork and horns in a place called hell, which doesn't exist. You give yourself hell by being on those vibrations and frequencies that give you the fear and the worry and the negative vibrations, having you preoccupied with doing things that are draining your fluids, like being oversexed or overeating or being in the wrong places where you're being exposed to the wrong frequencies. So hell is a state of mind, and it can be a place, because if you're living in a place where, let's say for example, and this is no disrespect to anybody particularly, but if you're in a place where you live in a crack house, or like all you see all the time is people unaliving each other, and then they're unaliving each other. It's just constantly fighting and disagreements and arguments and so on. Yeah, so you give yourself heaven or hell. You got it? You give yourself heaven or hell depending on your state of mind and what you do every day. You can choose to get up and be joyful and happy and look at the positive outlook in life and focus on your development, making yourself healthy, helping other people, engaging in projects that are helping the children, the elders. You just live a very positive life, helping people and helping humanity. And life is beautiful when you're looking at the glass as half full and not half empty. Yeah, so that's what you do. You just live and enjoy and be on the right frequency and vibration, which then attracts and draws you with others like you. Okay, thank you so much, Lewis World 5019. Welcome to the team of OSM. We love when we see new people join. Let me move on. Simon Stern, isn't necromancy used by the people in religion? Absolutely, that's what it's all about. It's a vampire worship. Why would you want to drink the blood of someone and eat their flesh? That's what it literally says when you're going to communion and you're, like, this is the blood of Christ, and you're eating it. Even if you say it's symbolic, why would you want to eat somebody's flesh and drink somebody's blood? Why do you worship a being that has already crossed over, is dead, or you would say it's a ghost? But you say he's a ghost, so he's no longer here. So that's a worshipping of the dead. Everyone in these religious books is dead. No one is alive. And the one they do say is alive, which is the Son of God, is a ghost. A ghost is a being, a disembodied being, right? Then the next one they say is in heaven, a place that you can't go to or can't prove, but they say he's alive and they can speak to him. Until you ask them, does he actually hear you? Does he listen and does he hear you? And if he does, and you all religious people are praying every day, praying to this being to help remove the problems of the world, but nothing is happening or changing. In fact, you're seeing more and more things, then he's either not listening or he's not hearing you, or he doesn't actually exist. Because people will say he's there, he hears their prayers, and we say, all right, can we ask him to get rid of disease, get rid of wars, get rid of famine, get rid of homelessness, get rid of all these things that make our life on the planet hell. All of a sudden, he can't do that. But the next minute, he's all powerful, he's almighty, he's omnipresent, omnipotent. But yet, we still have all these issues on the planet. Why can't we all just get along? Why can't he just click his finger and let us all be living in a utopia? Because that's what they promise you to go to heaven to get. Life everlasting? How is that possible? What are you defining as life for it to be everlasting? So the whole concept of religion is based on fear this God, because if you don't, he's going to punish you and he's going to put you in a place to suffer forever. How is that a loving, caring being? So when we bring it down to reality, it's different extraterrestrials that have, some of them have human emotions. That's why they are saying, I am a jealous God. How can God be jealous? Jealous of who? If you own everything and create everything and can do everything, you can't be less than yourself. How can you be jealous? How can it grieve you? How can you grieve? To grieve is to feel what we feel. If you say we are the lesser beings or human beings, we feel grief. How can you be vexed? How can you be angry? These are all the attributes that they give you of these beings, these deities that are supposed to know everything, create everything, be almighty, all powerful. You know, it's not real, right? So yeah, we got to wake up and deal with reality. Again, I see your question, Reyes Sananda. Can we speak who was born on the 6th or the 6th, 1966 in the Leviathan book? The devil's children were born, 13 of them actually, as you know. But the main one, go to the, watch Rosemary's Babies and the Damien movies talking about him being born in Dakota House in New York. You know about the whole Church of Satan with Anton LaVey, or we say, Levi or Levi. That's all information about the Antichrist being born, okay? Oh yeah, someone said it, Rosemary's Baby, there you go. I always felt religions, churches, very dark places. Yeah, it's all being exposed now, right? But not dark as in, again, that's a play on words, because everything dark is supposed to be disagreeable and everything white is pristine, purity and all of that. But we know, again, flip mode, that's what that is. You've got to flip it back. I'm interested in helping you all here in Baltimore. I will like to aid you all with spreading the right knowledge. That's absolutely fantastic, Eric. Yeah, join the Telegram group, connect with us, and we'll make that happen. Right, I've got a good question here. X Dark Awakening, X9710. Etheric beings, is there multiple colors? Like in my experience, I've seen blue etheric and golden etheric beings in altered state through meditation. Do the colors determine where they come from or who? There are different levels of etheric beings. Because remember, when you're seeing colors, it's just a vibration of a frequency. Yeah, that's why you can convert light to sound and sound to light and then to colors, right? Because it's just vibration and frequencies. So yes, you do have different beings on different etheric realms. Even like when you look at the ancient Egyptian deities, you know, they were depicted with the colors like green, topaz, and so on, because the environment you're in will determine what you look like. So on this planet, the healthiest color is green, right? That's why most of nature is green. Vegetation is green. But we are brown because we're rusting. When you start to look at the fact that we are now, because of the composition of our bodies and the sun and where we are living, I'm trying to remember, the names escape me, of the magnesium. Did I say that already? Yeah, we lost the magnesium. And so that's why we're now brown, but we weren't originally this color. And some beings that live in the seas, they're going to have a different type of hue. So yes, that's true. But in terms of determining where they come from or who they are, it doesn't determine like where they come from, but as I've already said, the environment you're in or the elements that are surrounding that environment will change you to match the elements of that environment. So your telepathy does not work to communicate with him. Who is him? This is from You got a question? Yeah. I need to know who you're talking about when you say, so your telepathy does not work to communicate with him. I don't know who the him is.
They're trying to be rude, yeah?
Yeah.
Sir, you're too old to be this lost. Seek a real relationship with Jesus Christ while you still have time.
That's funny. Jesus is not real, so how can you seek a real relationship with him? You've never proven the existence of this character that you all keep talking about. And Wu-Sabat is not here to convert you from being a... yeah, let's take the caller, because... Okay, yeah, so first of all, let's dissect and prove who this Jesus character is. You say seek. The thing with religious people is, like, you base everything around what you believe, right? To believe something doesn't mean it's true. You can believe in anything you want. You can believe in pigs can fly. You can believe that Father Christmas exists and comes through your chimney and gives you presents. You can believe anything you want, right? We don't deal with belief. We only talk about religion and these characters because we know where the stories have been concocted from, and we're only doing it to help the people that are still caught up in it until they are able to raise themselves on a conscious level to be able to deal with truth and deal with facts, you know, because even the name doesn't make sense. Like, you can't even tell us the origin of that name, because he never, even according to the books, when we say he and according to the books, we're talking about according to the books that you follow, which most don't take the time to read and investigate. You can't even make up the word Jesus because there were no J's or V's in his time or in Hebrew until a particular time, right? There's no evidence, no DNA. Like, you can go and dig up, you know, go to the tombs and go to Egypt and dig up pharaohs thousands of years before Jesus and can't find anything. Don't give us that, what's that cloth that they like to talk about? What's it called again? The cloth that supposedly Jesus' impression was on it. The shroud, yeah, the shroud. It makes no sense, because how does a spirit leave a mark? And if he can leave a mark on the cloth, why? And it comes through the tomb, and then he leaves, but then there's a mark left on the cloth. A lot of this has been debunked. A lot of the stories we know are copied and regurgitated from ancient Egypt, you see. So yeah, we don't want to spend too much time on the whole Jesus thing. If you really want to, come to one of our classes and we'll deal with that. Rahubat, Paula, what's your name? Where you calling from, and what's your question?
Rahubat, Q calling from the States with another question. My question was, I know before we talked about when it's time and the chosen ones will have their barothry gland, third eye replaced when it's that time, and there'll be a war against the draconians and stuff, and they'll be wiped out along with the Adamites. My question was, will the other beings, like those Hindu beings and the Naga beings and stuff, will they be wiped out too for all of the disagreeable stuff that they did against the original, like Nagaru and the Tharo seeds that was planted here originally also? Since they were coming in, like, because I know how you said before, a lot of extraterrestrials were coming here for different things like hunting, vacation, or a place to live, and a lot of them were doing disagreeable things or interfering. Will they be wiped out also or punished for the misdoing and the wrongdoings that they did?
Yeah, I mean, this is what the dimensional shift is about. A lot of beings, regardless of who you are on the planet, if you don't make that dimensional shift, so the Dravidians, so the 9 ether, 7 ether, 8 ether have made the dimensional shift. And it's even when we say 9 ether and 7 ether and 8 ether, it doesn't mean that every single person of that race. So for example, the Dravidians of the 8 and 7 ether, not everyone in their race is going to make the shift, and it's the same with Nagaru. This is why we're in a day and time where you either elevate or you are going to fade away with the 6 ether forces, because if you're pulling yourself down and remaining on the 6 ether force, then the judgment has already been, it's already been passed. So yeah, and it's also based on you as a being and your actions, your intentions and your actions that will determine whether or not you make it or not. And there are going to be so many things, like somebody else is asking about COVID and the different things that have happened on the planet and genetic markers. So some people have to, this is why you have to clean up yourself and then, deal with your DNA, because the more it's about, your DNA is programmable, and the things you do and the thoughts and your actions can reprogram and change you, right? So some beings, like the 6 ether beings, some of them, they can make it if they mix with the 9 ether beings, you see. So the 5 ethers are definitely not going to make it. So it's all about what you do to reprogram yourself, and it's easily done by your actions and the things you do, from just getting healthy. For example, most people on the planet are very unhealthy because of the things, like the food you eat. A lot of the food you eat are not natural anymore. There are foods that are genetically modified and you don't know anymore. So just not knowing what you're doing, that's why the information and the knowledge is here, so that you start to know what to eat, how to live, how not how to live to eat, but how to eat to live, So it all depends. But yes, there are some beings that are not going to make it because of the way they vibrate and based on what they've done in the past.
Okay, and then final question. Here in the States is pretty well, I guess it's kind of similar. I think anywhere you go for which you would classify as, we've been classified as Black or African American or Negro under that classism.
Yeah.
But I noticed that, let's say, like when you get like immigrants or from other what we classify as like races, whether it's Caucasian, Indian, or Asian, or the three groups, like they're able to come over here, get a business loan, get benefits that us who are, like, let's say, originally from the land, were enslaved and built the country, we're not able to get the same type of benefits. Is that because those extraterrestrials being in control and placing those laws to keep us dumbed down and not allowing us to get those things, to elevate our minds also too?
Of course, the disenfranchised methodologies have been used for many years, because obviously, in order for you to be able to control somebody and keep them subjugated, you can't give them access to the same resources, because they've made economics and their God really being money. That's why, they put on the dollar bills and that, in God we trust. But the question is, which God? Which God are we talking about? And when you start to look at the banking system and look at the richest families and deal with, like, the Rothschilds, the 12 major families that have basically been controlling the monetary system, they have basically designed and orchestrated and financed a lot of wars. Rockefellers and the Bilderberger groups, the people out there, they're the richest people. They control. But the thing is, now we've got to a stage where that system is going to be reset, because money hasn't evolved, and this is where the whole cryptocurrency and the whole Epstein files and what's happening now, it's all coming out, because that control is, the centralized system is now fading to more decentralized systems, and everyone has opportunities now, but again, without the knowledge and the know-how, you may not know what to do. So when certain things take place, when like resets happen, some people are going to become wealthy and others are not, because you have to position yourself in a way that you know what to do, or else you're going to be, the line between the different classes are fading. It's just going to be rich and poor, and the rich are going to control the masses of resources, and the poor are going to basically be subjugated to slavery. So the question really is, why do you rely on anybody else when you can create your own wealth and create your own stuff? And this is one of the things where, with us as Negroids, over the years, if you look at Black Wall Street or any time where Black people have got together, because they have been, like I said, they basically don't get the same opportunities, and then they go and create their own, and it thrives and becomes successful. You see that, the jealousy comes in again, and they, like I said, with the Black Wall Street example, they go about destroying it. Like our nation, we were doing the same thing with our own land and our own stuff, creating our own everything. And that's now been
They just want us
dispersed.
to be dependent upon them, because every time we build something and it's successful, either they destroy it or they'll take it. Like I noticed during, let's say, like the enslavement period in Americas, we made hundreds or thousands of inventions. But in the 1700s, they created something called the Copyright Act and the Patent Act or whatever law, and
That's
then they
right.
stole all the inventions. So now we can't, benefit off of it, or, our families or generations to come.
That's right. But again, this is why, again, we're saying that natural nature and the world is changing to the point where there are certain things that are going to happen or are happening that cannot be reversed. And one of them is, like I said, those beings have got those genetic markers that their telomeres have been shortened are going to be removed. And we're moving to a stage where humanity has to evolve to a higher consciousness, or we will destroy all ourselves. And the wars that are going on right now, like if you see how close Russia and the USA are, nuclear weapon would mean no one really will be able to survive like that, unless you have higher beings that can step in. I mean, like extraterrestrial beings that can step in and take you away, or take you through a stargate or a portal or somewhere where you're able, how you're going to be able to be saved if that level of catastrophe was to happen to the planet. This is why
Right.
extraterrestrials that are agreeable have been racing to prevent us bringing about total destruction to the planet, because it won't only affect beings on the planet, it will affect other extraterrestrial beings that live on the planet, in the waters. And if it goes to the point where the solar system is destroyed, then it's going to affect the galaxy, and the galaxy is going to affect the next galaxy. So extraterrestrial beings are here to also prevent and stop certain things happening. They really can't intervene with our evolution, but they do help when it gets to the point where, man is about to to ruin life on earth for everyone. But then
Okay.
our thing is to come together and build. And this time round, because it's the Aquarian age and because it's the sun cycle, when you read these books, like the books of the Bible, talking about the end of the world, the end times, like the book of Revelations, you hear a lot of the destruction, like when you're reading the books of Revelation, and then you get to a point where it tells you the solution, or that those that are with, like say Michael, they're gonna, so you got the draconian or the dragons, they're being exposed now. Like a lot of people are showing you videos of shape-shifting reptilians now. Like this is nothing new. And those are the draconians that we're talking about that have hijacked the planet and have been subjugating a lot of the people on the planet. But that's changing, and they're going to get exposed and they're going to get wiped out. And what's going to make that happen is the more people that wake up and don't fall for this system that has got you, what we call it, the matrix, as the movie was showing you. Like, you've got to rise up from that slumber, from that sleep, and take back control of your being and be fearless, and don't worry about things and be so negative and angry and fighting and divisions and wars, and all that stuff is just creating chaos on the planet. You remove the chaos and we're good. But we got another question? Okay. We've already...
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your question. Right, let's go. Next one.
Call them back, yeah.
Okay, in the meantime, I'm going to run through some of these questions that I saw. Okay. What is the Most High's name? Depending on which book you're reading from, and the Most High would be the highest person in whatever you're measuring in that place, book, country. So if you're talking about the Bible, for example, the Most High is Anu, which is the Sumerian god, right? Which is where the Bible and these books came from anyway.
Hello?
Yeah, greetings, Rahubat.
Greetings. Yes, Rabobat.
Yeah, go ahead. What's your name? What's your question? Where are you calling from?
Oh, my name is Eric Williams, and I'm calling from Baltimore, Maryland.
Tua.
My question is to you is that my wife is a Hebrew Israelite, and I'm trying to get her to make the transition, but it's very, very hard.
Is that the question?
Yes, and I want to know how can I deal with helping her to make the transition?
By you living truth and by your example, because one of the things we sometimes have to remember, that everyone has their journey, and just because we have got to a certain stage, we can't hurry up everyone else to come and be at the stage we are at. And so this is where the ashuk, which we call divine love, comes in. It's like you have to understand that people are going to only change when they are ready to, or when something hits them. All you can do is do your best by recommending things and showing her things, but ultimately your example and how you transform and change. The thing is, you have to remember, even though you are white, married, you're like the strings on a guitar. They're separate, but they make beautiful music together. So you have to remember that your journey is your journey and her journey is her journey. And your example and how if you transform and something it's almost like when you use a product, right? A product or a service.
Correct.
If it's really great and it changes your life, you're going to tell other people about it. But at the end of the day, you can't force it on them. They have to try it themselves. And so, yeah, just focus on yourself. You came in the world alone. You're going to leave alone. And she came alone and she's going to leave alone. But obviously, during the journey, whilst we're here, it's about us being united and working together so we can make it as smooth for each other as possible.
Okay, one more question. And I'm the one who asked you about Baltimore, Maryland, because I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. And I used to follow and the Nubian Islamic Hebrew mission back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And I remember that they had a tabernacle, and I was very much affiliated and active with them. So, will there be another tabernacle, or are we? Is there anywhere that I can go that you know of in Baltimore where I could take her to try to help feed her the information, and for myself for updated information?
Torah, we are the Nubian Islamic Hebrews. We still are all the titles that we once held. It's just that as we're growing and evolving, we're still walking and learning more about who we are. And because of the different divisions and separations, that's why we come under the umbrella of United Sabians Worldwide or Nuu-waubians Worldwide. So you can go to the nearest, I'm trying to pull it up on our website. So if you go to the contact us page, it shows you all the local like jurisdictions where you can still go and take her to classes. I'm not sure if, are you anywhere near South Carolina?
I've sent in the link.
Okay,
No, I'm in Maryland. I'm north of South Carolina.
right.
I'm
Yeah.
close to New York.
Okay, so you could go
Or
to New Jersey or New York. Those are very close to you, and yes, go to the classes. New Jersey's quite not too far as
now
well.
I live right outside of DC.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, we've sent you the link. You got Washington D.C. and we've sent you the link to all the addresses, so you could call those numbers and go and yeah, go to classes. You can take the whole family along with you.
Okay. Now, one more last question is: do you have any idea of what happened to the Malaysia jet that disappeared and what happened to it?
Well, I can't speak on that one specifically, but next week we can go into more detail. But we do know there are, like we say, portals, and you can be basically extraterrestrials, and certain beings have technology that they can literally just snatch you and take you somewhere else.
I believe that too. That's the same thing I was describing to some of the people who does listen to Dr. York and know that I was used to follow, because I still try to teach the best way I can. And I was trying to get a copy of the new holy tablet, but I was unsuccessful because I had the old one. But a brother who got out of jail, he was thirsty for the knowledge, and I gave him the first edition that I had, and I was trying to regain a second edition for the Injil.
Right. This is why we say to people to go to the stores, go to the communities, because what he has been saying from the time he got here was, I came giving you what you want, so you would learn to want what I have to give. And what he came to give, he started to give when he started going from the right knowledge series and going into what we call the hereafter doctrine, and said that the holy tablets expired in the year 2000 AD. So the Partaruk, the master's secret, the actual facts, these are the hereafter doctrine which he came to give us. So a lot of people are still getting caught up in the books before the hereafter, like the holy tablets and the books, many books he wrote before. We are not for 1 minute saying that you shouldn't read those books, but you're going to do yourself much more of a service to move on to the hereafter doctrine. And that's why we keep saying to people, don't stay outside, come close, come inside the tabernacle, because the
Right,
tabernacle,
that's what I want to do. I'm retired.
that's right. So we're gonna send that information to you, to your closest location, and then you can learn from the inside out, as opposed to people trying to learn from the outside in, and they're never gonna get the information that is given on the inside. So yeah. All right, folks, we're gonna have to leave it there, because
I got
you got 3 questions back.
3 yes or no questions.
Okay, absolutely.
And then
quick,
one
quick,
after
quick.
that.
Yeah.
Is Ptah and Anu one being?
No. separate beings.
Jesus had a child.
Jesus had many children.
Are you and your crew false prophets?
What is a prophet? A prophet is what? Where are the prophets? So let me ask you, is the weather people that tell you the weather every day prophets? Because they tell you what the weather is going to be like. It's about knowing and having the knowledge. The things people call prophecy and miracles and things like that are just because they don't know the alchemy or the science behind it. But we're not false because we deal with truth. And when you say prophet, just read the books. Like right now, the master teacher is talking about things nobody else is talking about. He's telling you what's going to happen, you know, in 2030, 2032, 2043. No one else is talking about that. So you make for yourself what you think, but everything he has ever said since he's got here has manifested or come to pass. So on that note, you got another one. You said you have
Last
three.
question.
Okay, go on then.
What's the meaning of the symbols on outfit?
Oh, we've been through this so many times. The Ankui, come to our event and come and talk to us and socialize and tune in online if you're not in the UK. But yeah, we go into more detail about that for you. And we want to say we appreciate love everyone that tunes in. Don't follow the distractions and people that say you're this, you're that, because the minute you put them on the stand, like you stand and let us ask you questions. Let's dissect what you teach and let's see who's the one that is teaching false information. So, you know, Wu-Sabat it's in a league of its own. We're not here to convert people. We're not here to try and persuade you. If you want to stay as a Muslim, stay a Muslim. If you want to be a Christian, stay a Christian. If you want to stay in belief, stay in belief. But for those who are elevating, that want to go to the higher levels and transform their lives and become those supreme beings, that's who we are here for. All right. So till next week, same time, same place. Wadu Mwesar.